At some point I will remember to unmute. All I was saying was good morning. Good morning. Welcome. We're reading The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish again, aka the Fish and Preg one. One. that Fish and Preg on me? Yeah, that's what we're reading. We are on chapter... What are we on? 10. We're on chapter 10 out of... There's a lot of chapters. Out of 38. So, very much still in the beginning of this. There's so much room for Mpreg. So don't get, discouraged because we're not there yet. We're still in the beginning of this. I remember... Sorry, my voice is louder right now, right? Sorry. That was, unpleasant, probably. I forgot I turned down the things on my mic thing on my audio interface because I was recording some stuff earlier. Oh, yes. Well, 2 days ago. Oh, yeah. 2 days ago. Anyway, I have tea. Hope you have tea too, or something. Or just, something. I took my meds. I shouldn't be too sniffy. There might be some noises going on in the backyard because of construction stuff. Hopefully not, but we'll see. We'll see. If that does happen, too bad, so sad. Go cry to your dad. Just step up and be a man. Sorry, I've had that phrase in my head for a little bit, and I like applying it to the stupidest situations. But anyway, let's get started. My tea is too hot to sip right now, so I'm not gonna drink it right now. This chapter 10, is called Fish Style Slap, which is coincidentally the title of the stream. I just thought it was fitting because it's the title of the chapter, and also it's just such a good title. Fish Style Slap. It's so good. What can I say? Alright, let's go. I haven't really warmed up my voice yet, so I'm a reading voice. You know how it is, because you have to say words fast. Anyway, let's get going. Let's get started. After I yawn. Wow. I slept, but I didn't sleep enough. So that's what's going on. Whew. Having been the favored concubine for several years, noble consort Chu knew the emperor still had a soft spot for Prince Jing, which is why she harbored such great resentment for the prince. What if this incident brought the emperor's anger down on her, and in turn on the second prince, just when he was on the verge of becoming the crown prince? Noble consort Chu refused to let herself and her son suffer through such a disaster. So she came up with what she felt was an ingenious idea. Zhaoer, Zhaoer, don't make a sound. Let's hide the fish, quickly. Oh yeah, they thought they killed the fish. I forgot that's where we left off. They thought they killed the fish, but he's just pretending to be dead. Mu Tianchao was bewildered. Lady Chu didn't want other people to get involved. Changqing Palace was not her territory, and the emperor was right there, on the throne. If she asked her trusted servants to deal with this, it would only serve to attract his attention. The fewer people who knew that Prince Jing's fish had died, the better. Noble consort Chu and the second prince neatly blocked the bowl from onlookers' curious eyes, quickly devising a plan. First, Lady Chu would hide the fish, then pretend to notice that the fish had vanished, triggering a search party ordered by the emperor. While everyone was distracted, she'd have time to furtively acquire another live fish. Oh, you wouldn't! She would then have someone find it at just the right time and place. It would be a flawless switcheroo. This reminds me of the time I stole cash from my, like coins from my mom, and then she was like, "Where did my money go?" And I was like, "Oh no, I found them. I found coins on the stairs. Wow, crazy." I was like 6. Oh, anyway, won't someone be able to tell? Mu Tianzhao was a little hesitant. His ascension to crown prince was tantalizingly close, and he didn't want anything to endanger it. What are you afraid of? Noble Consort Chu laughed coldly. A fish like this, it's just a soup ingredient. They all look the same. Prince Jing probably won't even be able to tell the difference. Noble Consort Chu was brimming with confidence, convinced her plan was foolproof. Otherwise, she wouldn't have dared to come up with something like this. What else was she supposed to do? Just wait around for Prince Jing to make her life difficult? I forgot to pop out chat. Yippee! Yay! Okay. She took another glance at the flipped-over fish floating on the water. They had to hide the fish well, so that no one would be able to find it. The best place would be inside her sleeves. No one would dare search the noble consort. Suppressing the urge to hurl, Lady Chu reached for the fish using her handkerchief. Just as she was about to touch the fish, though, the very tip of its tail, which had originally been motionless, started to shake. Then it started struggling. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Noble Consort Chu and the second prince jumped. Stunned, Mu Tianzhao asked, Mother, wasn't that fish supposed to be dead? How could a fish come back to life? This was way too bizarre. Noble Consort Chu didn't have time to speculate any further, nor did she have time to respond to the second prince. She'd wrapped the fish up in her handkerchief, but it was still very slippery, and now it was squirming around quite hard. If she let it slip out of her hand and fall to the floor, here in Changqing Palace, right in front of the Emperor, she had already taken the first step. There was no turning back now. Sweat continued to bead on the noble consort's forehead. This woman had lived in a lap of luxury for a long time now, so she didn't have much grip strength. Furthermore, she was dealing with Liu, an expert at struggling. This time he went all out. With his newly stronger tail, it didn't take much for him to escape from her grasp. This was the closest the little carp was ever going to get to Lady Chu. By now, Liu had a lot of experience swinging his tail around. He calculated the distance and made a clean swing. His original plan was to jump into the noble consort and give her a good scare. Jump onto the noble consort and give her a good scare. Then, in the ensuing chaos, he'd snatch the pearl. If that didn't work, and he ended up on the floor, he could just swing his tail a couple more times to try and get back into the bowl. The bowl was very close by. Being away from the water for such a short amount of time shouldn't be a problem, and besides, he had all that fresh water stored in his inventory. But unfortunately, he used too much force. With one flip, he managed to set a whole new record, landing smack dab in the middle of the noble consort's face. Uh-oh. That's what it says. That's not me, that's the book. Uh-oh. Noble Consort Chu's vision was suddenly obstructed by something cold and slippery. Prince Jing's fish had thrown itself onto her face. She screamed in terror. Ah! Her scream instantly lit a fire under Liu. This was, after all, the first time he had ended up on someone's face, as a fish. His tail flapped furiously in alarm, slapping the noble consort's face over and over again. I just realized I didn't have my full stream set up this whole time. 1 second. It's sounding a bit echoey, isn't it? I forgot. Ow. To put up my little panel things. so that it doesn't echo as much. Still echoes a bit, but not as much. Oy oy oy. My bad. Let me drink some tea. All right. Oh my goodness. Slapping the noble consort's face over and over again. He is crazy. The second prince didn't even know how to react. The flurry of slapping noises finally jolted him out of it, though, and he yelled in a panic, "Mother, mother! Someone, come quickly! Save my mother!" Fucking fish. "Shout her! Get it off! It's on my face! It's on my face!" All that the shocked and terrified Lady Chu could see were wet gray scales. She couldn't stop screaming. Mu Tianzhou wanted to help, but his hand froze midair, too afraid this fish would fly onto him next. You're scared of a fucking fish? Who knew what might happen? In the chaos, Liu found a suitable position on the noble consort's face and swished his tail once again, aiming for the glistening white pearl. This time, he took careful command of his strength to slap the golden hairpin with pinpoint accuracy. Bingo! The pearl fell from the hairpin onto the floor, just like he planned. Noble Consort Chu had put a bit of thought into choosing her hairpin, hoping to entice the emperor even when night fell with this priceless luminous pearl. But now she was panicking too hard to fret about her hair accessories. Liu flapped his fins a few times, straining to reach the fallen pearl, but it was no use. That pearl was standing between him and turning back into a human, and it was about to fall into the golden bricks. It was all or nothing. Liu flung himself toward the jewel. Meanwhile, the emperor had been enjoying his tea while he waited for Prince Jing when he suddenly heard the noble consort and the second prince shouting and yelling. The emperor rushed over along with head eunuch Luo to see what had happened, only to find the noble consort with her hair in disarray, face paper white. Her hands were flailing about, clawing at nothing, while the second prince stood off to the side, in uncertainty. You fucking useless son. The emperor didn't see Liu. Of course he wouldn't notice a little carp on the ground chasing after the pearl when the consort and her son were making such a fuss. "What's going on?" demanded the emperor, furious. Liu couldn't reach the luminous pearl. As it hit the floor and rolled away, he made a lunge for it, but it was too late. Just as he was about to reach the pearl, a pair of hands materialized from above and pressed down on his little fish body. Who was getting in the way of completing his quest? Incensed and indignant, Liu glared up, and straight at Prince Jing's face. Liu could see anger simmering beneath the surface. Fuck! Here he was flopping around, high off adrenaline at the prospect of completing his quest, only to get caught red-handed by the Tyrant. Liu blew a listless bubble. He wanted to hide and flat out deny everything, but he was in Prince Jing's palm. There was nowhere to hide. Had Prince Jing seen him slap noble consort Chu and steal the pearl, he had to be in big trouble with the prince, but he wasn't playing around for no reason. Noble consort Chu was definitely going to report Liu to the emperor for what he just did, but so long as he returned to the bowl before the emperor noticed him, there was no way the emperor would believe her. After all, how could a fish jump out of the bowl, humiliate Lady Chu, and then jump back in? Right, he needed to get back. It felt awful to be out of the water. He had to figure out a way to return to the bowl without Prince Jing noticing, but that was way harder than tricking Lady Chu had been. Prince Jing was no fool. Li Yu had to be careful. While Liu was still racking his fish brain for ideas, Prince Jing slipped him gently back into the water. Of course he would! Of course, he loves you! Stupid fish, man. You are his exception. Liu was shocked and relieved to find himself surrounded by water in his bowl again. Wow, the tyrant actually put him back. He wiggled a bit to demonstrate his affection, but Prince Jing glared at him again. The little carp could clearly read the threat in the tyrant's eyes. I'll deal with you later. Oh, he's in trouble. He is in trouble. He's a fish and he's in trouble. Uh-oh. My fish. No, it's Prince Jing's fish. How could you? How could you take him away from him? Oh god. Liu shrunk back. Wait, is that why he didn't get mad earlier? He was saving it for later? He didn't want to be fish soup, and he didn't want to die either. You're so stupid. So Liu decided he might as well let the tyrant pinch him a few more times. It's so stupid. Oh, but I mean, to be fair, if I was a fish, I'd probably be thinking the same, so he is a fish. Oh god. He arched his back into Prince Jing's hand in an effort to wiggle his way back into the prince's good graces. Surely letting Prince Jing get a few squeezes in would get him out of trouble. Prince Jing stared, unimpressed. Your Imperial Majesty. Wait, who is this? Oh, okay. Your Imperial Majesty, please believe me. I don't know why Prince Jing's fish just leapt into my face. Lady Chu was still in shock, and she knelt in front of the Emperor, weeping. She loathed Prince Jing with all her heart, so much that she wished for his death. Did she fall into his trap? Had Prince Jing acquired a fish with the ability to resurrect itself for the sole purpose of embarrassing her in front of the Emperor? Fucking bitch. Oy. This terrifying ordeal had noble consort Chu shocked out of her wits. She felt like everyone and everything was out to get her. Of course. The Emperor rubbed his temples and looked over at Prince Jing, faintly confused. Prince Jing scoffed and gestured at the bowl, placed not too far away, with his chin. He'd made sure no one was paying attention when he put the little carp back in. Since noble consort Chu had bribed people to slander him, he'd given her a taste of her own medicine. Let her have a turn at being unable to explain herself. Prince Jing took another glance at the intrigued little carp that had managed to create the situation for him. What divine fortune! The Emperor ordered Luo Ruisheng to investigate the scene, only to be informed that Prince Jing's fish was swimming happily in its bowl. This time, the Emperor was irate. The noble consort is telling a bald-faced lie. Prince Jing's fish is clearly still in its bowl. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Oh, no. He don't believe you. Lady Chu felt all the blood rush to her head. Fury and anxiety saturated her voice. Your Imperial Majesty, it's true. That fish flew out just now. The Emperor's brows furrowed. So you're saying a fish can fly? And not only can it fly, but it flew out, harassed you, and then somehow flew back. At this point, the fish was like a trigger for noble consort Chu. She nodded furiously. That's exactly! Zhao saw it too! That's exactly it. Zhao saw it too. Noble consort, have you gone mad? The Emperor sighed, disbelief written all over his face. Lady Chu had seemed fine before, but all of a sudden she was kicking up a fuss, spewing all sorts of foolishness. A fish that could fly? How was that possible? If she hadn't gone mad, why else would she talk such nonsense, and even mess up her own hair? Bro, you're so quick to assume that she's gone. Wow. Wow. Classic man. If you want to make up a if you want to make up ridiculous stories, then so be it. But do you have to try to drag Zhao down with you? Mu Tianzhao had opened his mouth to corroborate his mother's account, but on hearing the emperor's words, he shut it again. Noble Consort Chu kept shooting him pointed looks, but since the emperor didn't believe her, the emperor would only become more upset if he insisted on backing her up. What was the point of playing the hero for a fleeting moment? Mu Tianzhao would give up anything for the position of crown prince. In a sensible tone, he said, "Oh, bitch. Royal father, you're right. I did not see it clearly." What a bitch. Like mother, like son, I guess. Mu Tianzhao guiltily avoided his mother's look of disbelief. He was about to become the crown prince. What, was it wrong to have some self-preservation? The emperor said unhappily, "Noble consort, even Tianzhao agrees. What do you have to say for yourself?" Lady Chu bit her cherry lips. "Your Imperial Majesty, I forgot myself and misspoke. Please forgive me." Even her own son had turned his back on her, so what else could she say? She had a momentary lapse in judgment. It didn't matter how much she complained. It was useless if the emperor didn't believe her. The best thing for her to do now was to keep her head down and wait for the emperor's anger to dissipate. There was no need to fight with a stupid fish. Right at the moment that Lady Chu admitted her folly, Prince Jing's boot stepped on an embroidered handkerchief. Wang Ji, who had been following behind Prince Jing, rushed forward to picked the handkerchief up. Wang Ji shook the handkerchief out to check who it belonged to and let out a shocked exclamation. "Wang Ji, what is your issue?" groaned the emperor, whose head was beginning to hurt from all these things happening one after another. Wang Ji said, "Your Imperial Majesty, this servant just picked up the noble consort's handkerchief, but why does it have fish scales on it?" "Ooh." As he spoke, Wang Ji raised the handkerchief so that everyone could see. The handkerchief embroidered with crabapple flowers. A handkerchief embroidered with crabapple flowers. Even the emperor knew it belonged to the noble consort, and just as Wang Ji said, there were a few fish scales still stuck to it. Dun dun dun. Why would the noble consort's handkerchief have fish scales on it? There was only one fish in all of Changqing Palace. Are you sure? I mean, how? Okay, sure. Prince Jing's fierce eyes flashed over the noble consort, his gaze as sharp as a knife. Wang Ji immediately spoke for the prince. "Fish scales are part of the fish. They don't... Oops. That's my alarm to take my meds, but I already took them. Sucks to suck. They don't fall off for no reason. Did the noble consort do something to our master fish while our prince wasn't here?" As expected of Prince Jing's spokesperson, a powerful attack from Wang Gonggong. Li Yu was delighted, but when did he become a master? He was just a fish. Master? The emperor was speechless. Wang Ji beamed as he explained, "Your Imperial Majesty, the servant heard this from Xiaolin first. Xiaolin called the noble consort's cat Master Cat. It's only logical for His Highness's fish to be Master Fish." As the master of the world, the emperor was everyone's master. Was a noble consort trying to put a cat and the emperor on the same level by calling it master? Nonsense. Do not call them that in the future. The emperor glared at Lady Chu. Noble consort Chu, what did you do to Prince Jing's fish? Why are there fish scales on your handkerchief? There is no way the noble consort was going to admit she had used the handkerchief to pick the fish up. She hadn't realized it at first, but the moment she walked over to look at the fish, the tables had been turning against her. This fish definitely had it in for her. She barely even had time to do anything to it. The fish was clearly the one who was tormenting her. Noble Consort Chu sobbed. Your Imperial Majesty, why don't you ask Prince Jing? He was the one who bullied my Piozhi first. Your Imperial Majesty. Throwing everything to the wind, Wang Ji fell to his knees and declared loudly, People are always taking advantage of His Highness's inability to speak in order to frame him. As you know, his injuries take a long time to heal. It's been true since he was young. All the imperial physicians know this. When His Highness was changing just now, the servant noticed a large bruise on his leg. Ooh, they got it. Its position matched the body shape of that cat. That's crazy. That day, the noble consort's cat ran into His Highness first. That's why His Highness taught it a lesson. The servant implores your Imperial Majesty to believe His Highness. A bruise from a cat? Noble consort Chu's pupils constricted. Why hadn't she thought of such a flaw in her plan? Ah! Hold on, sorry, my foot's asleep, and it's really annoying and hurts. It's like, it's so uncomfortable. I don't like it. I've been sitting on my foot, that's why. Yeah, it's my fault, but why do I have to suffer the consequences? Why hadn't she thought of such a flaw in her plan? The emperor was very upset to hear Prince Jing had been injured, and he immediately called for an imperial physician to treat his injury. Those are in quotations. The treat his injury and injured are in quotations. Once the doctor confirmed that there really was a bruise, the emperor was no longer able to contain his ire. It's just a cat. How dare it injure a prince? It seems he was right. It really did deserve it. If the cat was the one who ran into Prince Jing, Xiaolinji must have lied. A quick investigation uncovered the truth. He had been bribed by the noble consort. Changqing Palace was a bloodbath. Jesus Christ. Over a fucking cat? Nonsense. The flames of the emperor's temper surged to a fierce blaze. He hadn't announced the crown prince yet, and noble consort Chu was already out for Prince Jing's blood. When she became Empress Dowager in the future, would Prince Jing make it out alive? The emperor confined Lady Chu to her palace, where she was banned from coming out without a summons. Originally, he had been planning to promote her to imperial noble consort soon after her birthday, but he really didn't feel like it anymore. Imperial noble consort has a footnote. Imperial noble consort is only one rank below the empress. And as a sign of respect, when there is an empress, there usually isn't an imperial noble consort. When the position of empress is empty and someone gets promoted to imperial noble consort, it is a signal that they hold the same authority as that of empress and may be promoted to empress soon. Cool. Okay. Even looking at the future crown prince, the second prince, put him in a foul mood. Lady Chu could never have predicted that her carefully planned scheme would be thwarted in the end by a mere fish. Liu had really gone above and beyond this time. It was rowdy out there in the palace, and listening to the kerfuffle was making him sleepy. Thinking there were still a couple of pieces of food left at the bottom of the bowl, Liu managed to pull himself together enough to swim over and eat the fish food. Just as he was about to doze off, he was hit with a feeling that he had forgotten something. Wait, the clear bright pearl! He'd almost forgotten! Liu immediately flew up to the surface, scanning his surroundings. There it was! The pearl was sitting all by its lonesome in a corner of the palace. No one had realized the noble consort's hair ornament was missing a luminous pearl. Liu was itching to go for it. All he had to do was sneak out and grab the pearl. Even a touch would be good. Perhaps that would be enough for a quest complete, in quotations. But just then Wang Ji strolled over, all smiles, grabbing his bowl, and headed outside. What? It turned out the emperor was still reprimanding Lady Chu. Prince Jing didn't have the patience to listen any longer, so he got up to leave. The little I don't know why I have such a hard time saying little. The little carp, it's because I say little. The little carp that had accompanied him to meet the emperor obviously had to leave with him too. Hey, are you kidding me? I haven't grabbed the pearl. Wang Ji was only a few steps away from leaving the palace, bowl in hand, when he saw the little carp leaning against the rim of the bowl. It seemed to be staring longingly in a particular direction. Wang Ji, my man. Oh, he's such a. We stand Wang Ji in this house. Wang Ji nearly laughed out loud. He shook his head. He must be imagining things. As he watched the pearl get further and further away from him, his chances of completing the mission dwindling, Liu felt himself deflate. Oh no, did he not pick it up? Come on, Wang Ji. Right next to him, Prince Jing noted that the little carp looked listless. He considered for a moment, and then ordered the servant to go and take a look. Let's go! Oh my god, I love them. Before long, the servant came back holding a pearl. Prince Jing recognized the luminous pearl. It was the same one the noble consort wore on her head. He was very sure that this was what the little carp had been looking at, because when he emerged from the side hall after changing, he saw the little carp flopping after it. It wanted the jewel that badly? Master, please give me the pearl! An invigorated Liu swam over. He shimmied cutely, trying to cozy up to the prince by swimming in circles around his hand. It was obvious Liu was trying to kiss up to him. Did the fish think wiggling cutely a few times would get him the pearl? Oh shit! It wouldn't be that easy. Prince Jing still had a bone to pick with him. Oh, sheesh! With a faint smile, Prince Jing slipped the pearl into his sleeve. Oh shit. He is mean. He's being mean. Oh, I love a mean, cold, mute, disabled man. Oh yes. I am loving this flavor. Sorry, I'm taking my sweater off because it's getting kind of hot. Not hot, but warm. Warmer. Actually, just not cold. That's the end of the chapter, by the way. That is the end of the chapter. That was such a good chapter. That was so fun. Oh man. The next chapter is called The Fish Made a Mistake. Okay, whatever you say. Whatever you say, my guy. Chapter 11. let's just go into it. I don't need a break. Let's go. Liu followed Prince Jing and his servants back to Jingtai Hall. He made countless attempts to endear himself to the prince on the way there, but Prince Jing, who had been tapping him on the head back in Changqing Palace, didn't react at all. He even tucked away the luminous pearl. Liu was a little frustrated. Didn't he at least deserve some credit for inconveniencing noble consort? Chu? What? Sorry, I got distracted because there were pipe noises happening. And that's annoying. Hope you aren't able to hear that, but it's quite loud and it's like right behind the wall. Was it that hard to let him hold the pearl for a bit? It wasn't like he was going to monopolize it. He only needed it to complete his quest. After the quest was finished, he'd be done with it. But there was no need to get himself too worked up. Perhaps it was just a coincidence that Prince Jing had taken the pearl. Communication between a fish and a mute prince was too difficult. The youth switched tactics and started swimming in circles around the bowl. Perhaps by mimicking the shape of a pearl, he could give Prince Jing a hint. But the prince kept on acting like he couldn't see him. He knows, stupid. Little thing, what are you trying to do? Wang Ji chuckled. Wang Gongong had resolved to take good care of this fish from now on. Although it was just an ordinary edible carp, this little creature had brought Prince Jing a substantial amount of good luck. It had splashed the prince with water, but that had allowed them to discover the bruise from Piaozhu, which in turn was what helped them get one over on the noble consort. Wang Ji had looked down at Zhao Linji for calling Piaozhu Master Cat, but now he was all too eager to eat his words and call the fish master too. Liu stiffened at Wang Ji's question. How could he make those people understand that all he wanted was the pearl? He didn't want anything else. Should he swim in the shape of the world pearl? No, probably not. If he really did manage to write something, he might scare Wang Ji witless. Worse yet, what if Wang Ji mistook him for a fish spirit? Cultivation had been banned ever since the founding of the PRC. May the heavens have mercy, he was just an innocent transmigrated fish. He'd better come up with something else. Wang Ji carried the large bowl to the room that the little carp had been in before. Liu watched as the prince moved farther and farther away. Hey, wasn't he supposed to live with the tyrant? But after thinking about it some more, Liu realized he hadn't actually seen a bed or anything to sleep on. The prince had only entered that room to change. It obviously wasn't his bedroom. In ancient times, it's your own room. Like, what if he gave the fish his own room? Oh god, he probably would. In ancient times, a concubine's favor with the emperor could apparently be determined by how far away she lived from him. It was probably the same for pets. God. But a pet that didn't live with its owner practically wasn't a pet at all. Liu could see it now. He was going to fail all his quests. And there was only one way that led. Fish bones and fish ash. He couldn't be separated from Prince Jing. Liu had been looking kind of wilted, but now he was full of energy again. Living was way more important than some bright shining pearl. He still had to get along with Prince Jing. Since Wang Ji had asked him what he wanted, Liu was going to show him. He bravely poked his head out of the water to look in Prince Jing's direction, his gaze bright and gleaming. Wang Ji was so happy he couldn't close his mouth. Oh, this little thing can't bear to part from His Highness. It wants to stay with him. Liu was incredibly flustered at being called little thing again, but desperate times called for desperate measures. He blew a bubble. That's somewhat difficult, little thing. Wang Ji must have been in a surprisingly good mood, because he actually gave the fish an explanation. His Highness doesn't like others in his room. Liu was baffled. This was the first time Liu had heard of his tyrant owner having a pet peeve like this. This bit of characterization probably wasn't in the book. The prince in the book was just made up of rows of cold and lifeless text, but the Prince Jing before him was an actual living, breathing person, and Liu knew that people were multifaceted and much more complicated than words on a page could describe. True. Liu could accept this new information. Prince Jing didn't like others entering his room, fair enough, but he wasn't just anyone, he was his pet fish. Liu continued wagging his tail at Wang Ji. He really wanted to go. Wang Ji couldn't help smiling. Sometimes he felt like this little carp was very intelligent and a bit clingy. Who didn't like a clingy pet? I don't. No thank you. He wanted to help the little carp. He liked fish. Fish were quiet, and they didn't get in the way, no matter where you put them. They were more or less a decorative pet piece. But it turned out that he didn't need to convince Prince Jing, for the prince had already taken the bowl from him, a dark expression on his face. Wang Gonggong was getting the sense that the prince wasn't in the greatest of moods. Not for the first time, he found himself thinking that he really couldn't understand Prince Jing. Prince Jing carried the I keep getting stuck there. Prince Jing carried the little carp to the forbidden bedroom where no outsiders were permitted to enter. He had given the fish the cold shoulder on the way back from Chanqing Palace, but now it dared to wag its tail at Wang Ji. He's jealous. I'm gonna kill myself. He's so stupid. Oh my god, I love him. Prince Jing hadn't been standing too far away when the fish was playing with Wang Ji. His gaze, as he watched them, could have frozen the entire room. It was a very peculiar feeling, like when he was young and Mu Tianzhao had stolen something that belonged to him. It made him very unhappy, and only seizing it back made him feel a little better. He had already said so in front of the emperor. The fish was now his. He should be the one to decide where it lived. He didn't need anyone else to intervene. Accordingly, he took the fish away to his room and told nobody to bother him. What are you gonna do to that fish? Oh my god. Wang Ji would never be able to imagine the inner workings of Prince Jing's mind. In order to please his master, Wang Gonggong hastily ordered some servants to bring over the porcelain fish tank from the first room. He was worried about Prince Jing's lack of pet fish knowledge too. He also summoned a few servants who had experience taking care of fish, cats, and dogs just in case. After everything was settled and he had been moved back into his porcelain fish tank. Again, don't just plop a fish in a different tank, you gotta acclimate it. Liu did a lap around the tank. Someone had already changed the water, and the leaf blanket and the bed of white rocks were still waiting for him, untouched. This was truly the best place. It was much nicer to swim in here than in a bowl. Somehow, he realized, he had gotten used to thinking about things from a fish's perspective. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Was it a good or a bad thing that he had adapted to all this so quickly? After dawdling for a while and making sure nobody was paying attention to him, he ducked under the leaf blanket, pretending to rest, and entered the system. Boy, my throat's already starting to itch a little. It's like, oh, sorry. It's okay right now, but it's starting to feel a little, you know? The last time Liu had done this, he had been bursting with joy, excited to receive his prize. It was a very different story this time around. He was deflated and gloomy. He had made little to no progress in either the main or side quests. The fish scamming system greeted him as usual, but didn't provide him with any extra hints. Half of the allotted time for the getting along step in the priceless pet fish quest had already slipped by. Oop. Seeing the Emperor hadn't helped him make any progress either. It was obvious he had to work a little harder. It was a shame he couldn't complete Clear Bright Pearl. Maybe he should give it a try another time. It was just within reach. Either way, Liu thought he was already in Prince Jing's room. He was supposed to be his pet. He needed to have a little less shame about it. It wouldn't be all that weird for him to wiggle his way into the owner's clothes and just so happen to accidentally pull out a pearl or something, right? I think that'd be a little strange, my guy. Oy. Time was of the essence. Resolving to leave his shame behind, Liu exited the system. While he was inside the system, he couldn't tell what was happening in the outside world. Now that he was out again, he shook himself and came to an abrupt realization that he was lying in the Tyrant's hand. Liu nearly jumped out of his skin. Prince Jing cupped his hand, holding the fish so that it was still surrounded by water. Oh! He had never observed the fish up close before. As soon as the little carp settled down, he couldn't resist taking a look. It was a strange fish, he thought, but it was also intriguing. When he'd first picked the fish up, he noticed it was completely stiff, unmoving. His brows twitched, and he immediately called over a servant who had raised fish before. After examining the fish for a few minutes, they concluded it was likely asleep. Prince Jing then called over another servant for a second opinion, and this one said the exact same thing. After roughly 10 minutes, Prince Jing dismissed all of them and continued staring at the fish alone. If it was asleep, then it would eventually wake up. He wanted to see the other tricks this fish had up its sleeve. The little carp didn't sleep for long. Prince Jing was so close that he saw the fish tail twitch a little. Then, without warning, the fish jolted forward, nearly falling over in the water. Not for the first time, Prince Jing thought that the fish had the same dazed kind of look as a person who'd just woken up. But as soon as the fish saw him, it seemed sluggish. Prince Jing was slightly annoyed and tapped on the little carp's head. Why had it been so lively in front of Wang Ji, but seemed wooden and slow with him? A tap made Liu shake his head, remembering the task at hand. He started to wiggle his tail in an attempt to wheedle his way into the prince's favor. Ever since he had become a pet fish, swishing his tail and begging for pity was the only other survival skill he had outside of swimming. Except his owner didn't appreciate it. Prince Jing scoffed, his expression cold. Trying to kiss up to him now? Too late. His palm was only so big, it was impossible for the fish to keep wiggling like this without touching his hand. The feeling of the fishtail against his palm was a little odd, but Prince Jing refused to let it show. Liu took no notice. He was still trying to act cute, but his eyes kept trailing over to Prince Jing's clothing. The prince had put the luminous pearl in his sleeve, he remembered. If he could sneak into the prince's sleeve... Wait, he was in Prince Jing's hand right now. He could pretend that fish were very slippery. Liu swam to the edge of the prince's palm, deliberately slowly. He just needed to turn his body and flip over. But while he managed to do exactly that, as soon as his body left the confines of his palm, Prince Jing caught him with his other hand and put him back. Liu was stunned. I'll flip again! Again! He tried twisting this from the other side, but Prince Jing was faster. With his hands carefully cupped, he was able to hold him completely. Liu was pissed. Prince Jing peered down at him. He almost looked like he was smiling. Was he doing it on purpose? Did he hide the pearl just to toy with him? Liu's mind spun. He thought smugly. Then how about this? He didn't fight against the prince, instead following the line down Prince Jing's palm and arm. Liu slid down. Prince Jing froze. At first he thought the fish had been making a break for it, but he absolutely did not expect it to try to wriggle up into his sleeve. Aided by the water in Prince Jing's hand, the little fish slid down his arm, managing to slip right into his sleeve in the blink of an eye. Prince Jing, normally as sturdy as an ice-capped mountain, felt goosebumps erupting all over his skin. He furrowed his brows tightly. Meanwhile, Li Yu, who had successfully managed to infiltrate enemy territory, found himself stuck to a large patch of muscle. What the fuck? What the fuck? What was this feeling? Did Prince Jing not wear an inner robe? Liu lay against this unknown muscle, his face blazing. In his original world, he had been but an innocent boy who had been single his entire life. Now that he had transmigrated into a book, he was suddenly touching skin to skin with another man. Hang on. Okay. He was so embarrassed. Liu was so flustered he wanted to cover his face with his fins, but they were too short. With no other way to unleash his emotions, he resorted to fiercely flapping his tail instead. Prince Jing, who had been bearing with all these bizarre sensations, felt something scratching at him non-stop. How could anyone put up with that? Prince Jing was about to break out in cold sweat. He quickly untied his clothes, wanting to pull the troublesome fish out. Inside his sleeve, Liu was getting more and more annoyed. The sleeve was narrow and dark. If he moved around, he would slide further down, unable to stop. If he opened his eyes, the fabric would stab into them. Filled with regret over his impulsive decision, Liu was desperate to leave. In a fit of distress, he thrashed around even more wildly, but his struggling only increased Prince Jing's discomfort. As he flailed about, though, Liu spotted a faint glow. Dizzily, he wondered why. Oi. Sorry, I mentioned how my throat's starting to hurt already. It's really fast. I don't know why. We're almost done with this chapter, though. I think that'll be the end of the stream, unfortunately. Dizzily, he wondered why there would be light in Prince Jing's clothes. Could it be? No way. The clear, bright pearl? How sneaky. Prince Jing may have stuffed the pearl deep into his sleeve, but he couldn't fool Liu. Victory was just one step away. He could do it. Liu fought hard to move toward the light. He'd come this far already. Nothing could stop him now. No matter what, he had to touch it first. As he shuffled closer to the light, he thought he could see a hazy, round thing. Oh, pearls were round! Liu opened his mouth wide. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I think I know where this is going. Oh no. As he shuffled closer to the light, he thought he could see a hazy round thing. Oh, pearls around. Leo opened his mouth wide and went for it. The moment his fish jaws closed around the round thing, Liu was overcome with emotion. Terrified that the pearl might roll away from him, he clamped down hard. Liu felt Prince Jing flinch violently. No. 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 I knew this book was stupid, but goddamn. Oh my god. It's so stupid. The next moment, his dark surroundings brightened. All the clothes that had been in the way was now gone, and he could see Prince Jing, his upper half completely bare, with a rare hint of pink on his cheeks. He scowled down at Liu, irate. With the luminous pearl in his mouth, The little carp couldn't blow bubbles, so he opted to wave his tail happily at his owner instead. Which was when God, I can't get it out. Which was when he realized he was lying entirely on the prince's chest. Hold on. How did he get from the sleeve to here? Keeping his death grip on the pearl. That's not for. Liu scoured his surroundings. All he could see was a landscape of pale skin. Especially here, where the pearl was. He could feel the prince's pulse within his chest. Wait. Liu finally noticed. I can't do it. I can't. I can't. Oh no. Liu finally noticed something was wrong. Did Prince Jing hang the pearl around his neck? It was the noble consort's pearl. Did he have to go so far? Yeah, boy, you did make a mistake. The make and model of the pearl was not quite right either. The texture felt a little soft. Liu arrived at a horrifying conclusion. Trembling, he opened his mouth and reluctantly looked at the, in quotations, luminous pearl he had just held within his mouth. That wasn't a pearl. Not at all. Ugh! That was the thing used to differentiate between the front and back of a man. Oh boy, is it. Sorry, there's an ad in progress. I'm just gonna sip some tea and process all of this for a minute. Just a little bit. Oh. Ooh. This is almost the end of the chapter. This is insane. I'm insane. I've gone insane. This is so good. Okay. The fish suffered a devastating blow. The little carp collapsed, dropping down from Prince Jing's chest. But Prince Jing, with his lightning-fast reflexes, managed to catch him. Just then, Wang Ji pushed open the door. He had wanted to ask Prince Jing a question, but he had waited some time, and the prince never came out of his room. Left without another choice, Wang Ji came in to take a look, only to be faced with Prince Jing in a state of undress, face flushed pink, and fish in hand. Wang Ji was shocked. Who knew what Wang Gong experienced and knowledgeable experience? I cannot get through these sentences. This is insane. Who knew what Wang Gong, experienced and knowledgeable in all his worldly wisdom, was thinking about when he came upon this scene? He was so aghast his voice changed. Your Highness, you can't! Oh god, I can't! The fish is too small! It won't be able to take it! I can't stand it! This entire day had just been a never-ending stream of embarrassments. God, please just let this fish die. Oh no! That's the end of the chapter! That's the end of the fucking chapter! The next chapter is called The Fish Wants to Apologize. Yeah, I bet you do. Holy shit. Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh, you know what? The next chapter is really short. Maybe we should just... You know what? I'm gonna make some more tea. And then I think we're just gonna read the next chapter. It's very short. We can get through it. You know, I'll say that for like every chapter, though. But it's like 1, 2, 3, 10 pages, maybe? Maybe like 8 pages, honestly. We'll get through it. I'm just gonna. Okay, that's. Yeah. I can't stop there. I can't stop there. I need to know what happens. I know that it's not gonna, like. They're not even gonna talk about it. He's just gonna brush it off or some shit. But still, I still want to get to the next part. Okay, I'm gonna make some more tea, walk around, stretch a bit. Yeah, I'll be right back. It'll literally like 5 minutes, maybe. Maybe less. You know what? It's gonna take how long the tea takes to boil. The water takes to boil. So, I'll be right back. Hello, I am back. I have my tea. How long was that? Was that actually 5 minutes? It actually took longer than I expected. The the water to boil. But thankfully, I don't even have to steep my tea because I just have like a lemon tea thing. It's like citron tea, but it's like lemon. You know what I mean? Oh man, this book is so great. It's so beautiful, it's so sweet. It's so it's like it's very it takes its audience very seriously. And it's like it's a book for intellectuals, you know? I think that's very very special. Something is fucking up with my Twitch, maybe? Okay, the ad thing just disappeared. Like it has a a thing where it's like, oh, your ad is gonna start in this amount of time. That just disappeared, but I refreshed the page and it's fine now. Yippee! Oh boy. Oh boy. The fish wants to apologize. It's so stupid. I'm gonna have a bit more tea. It's too hot to drink. It doesn't smell that good. I don't know, it's like the lemon smell, but it kind of smells like, you know what? It's weirdly, it reminds me of like church. It reminds me of Sunday school. You know what it is? It's because we had those like orange juice boxes and they were never cold. And I lived in the desert. I lived in a desert. Like when you think of desert, I lived in a desert. And so it wasn't even like room temperature. It was hot. It was like tea. It was hot orange juice. It was that or mango juice. So I would have chosen the mango juice, but sometimes they don't have the mango juice. Sometimes they only have the orange juice. Disgusting. But yeah, that's what this reminds me of. Also, weirdly, like carpet. Like in a waiting room carpet. It smells like my childhood, I guess. The depressing parts of my childhood. It smells like waiting for my friend to be done with her violin lesson. And drawing shit in the carpets. Alright. Chapter 12. The fish wants to apologize. I bet you do. Whew. Liu knew he had screwed up big time. There was no question about it. Prince Jing must be furious. Not only had Liu splashed water on him and caused a huge ruckus in Chunqing Palace when Prince Jing wasn't there, now Liu had gone and felt him up too. Liu's ancestors must be protecting him. It was the only way he could explain why the prince hadn't killed him then and there. He couldn't remember how he went from Prince Jing's hand back to his fish tank, nor could he recall swimming back to his bed of white rocks. Normally, fish fell asleep in the blink of an eye, but Liu had spent half the night tossing and turning and hadn't slept a wink. But the moonlight outside the window shone into the porcelain fish tank, making the bottom of the water sparkle and shine. Liu felt his mood lift a little at the sight. Thinking about what he had gone through, he felt even more humiliated. No matter how shameless he was, that was it for him. There was no way he was going to attempt to complete Clear Bright Pearl again. He should just give up on the side quest and focus on the main quest. He was sure there would be other opportunities for him to transform back into a human in the future. Having fun. Oh, sorry. I changed the setting on I changed to noise cancelling because I forgot to put the noise cancelling on it. It fucked me up. Alright. Having finally convinced himself, he decided to put all his energy into figuring out how to get along with Prince Jing, but the whole mess had scared him pretty badly. When he saw Prince Jing, he felt uncomfortable all over, as though he could still feel the softness in his mouth. His fishtail felt like it was being roasted over an open fire, the heat spreading quickly through his entire body. How could he be so foolish as to confuse a pearl with that? At least it wasn't something else. Liu buried his head under his leaf blanket in a huff. If he was miserable, Prince Jing probably wasn't much better. Liu knew that if he was in Prince Jing's royal shoes, and he had been bitten there by a fish, he'd never hear the end of it as long as he lived. As he just... Sorry. It didn't... The sentences aren't computing in my brain. I need to, reset. With tea. Be warm. Be not scalding. Nope, it's still scalding. Okay. Let's give it a minute. I'm gonna drink water in the meantime. I have water. Cool. That's awesome. Okay. And he just had to do this to himself right after he insisted on staying in Prince Jing's room. They couldn't get away from each other anymore. There was nowhere for him to find an antidote for his regret. Without really meaning to, Liu started avoiding Prince Jing. When the prince passed by, Liu either had his tail turned to him, or he was hiding motionlessly under his blanket, pretending to be asleep. He only acted cute for— oh no, he's gonna get so jealous. He only acted cute for food when Wang Ji came to see him. Wang Ji would feed him a plethora of red-colored food, but for some reason his gaze would always be tinged with pity. Oh God. He would whisper, "Little thing, you've suffered a lot. Eat more and grow fat." This is not fair! Wang Ji, no! Wang Ji, no! He's not like that, I swear! God. But it was dangerous for a fish to fatten up. The little carp started to grow wary. Did Prince Jing want to turn him into fish soup? Thank goodness Wang Ji still used Yui to nudge him into swimming a few laps after each meal. That's a footnote. A ruyi is a decorative Chinese scepter. Its name means "as you desire" and is a symbol of good fortune. God. At first, Liu didn't understand why he did it, but he soon learned from Wang Gonggong's chatter that fish weren't supposed to eat too much, and he was pushing Liu to swim around so he could digest better. Perhaps it was because he had followed the taciturn. He had followed the taciturn Prince Jing for many years, but Wang Ji never seemed to run out of things to say. When he stood before his master, Wang Ji had to carefully consider his words before he spoke, but he had no such qualms when it came to the little carp. The image of a hand came to mind, making Liu pause. The fingers were pinched together, gently pushing him to swim around. He'd gorged himself back then, too. So Prince Jing had been helping him digest that time. But because he couldn't speak, and because of his personality, Prince Jing didn't reveal it to anyone. As grateful as Liu felt, his guilt just continued to grow. He knew Prince Jing was good to him, and he had taken advantage of him. And yet he had taken advantage of him. Oh God. It had been a misunderstanding, an accident, but he knew he was still at fault. A bit wrung out, the little carp wondered if he and Prince Jing would be able to go back to how they were before. Was he going to have to continue avoiding? God, I just... my heart dropped. I thought I forgot to unmute and I freaked out. Okay. Oh, I didn't forget. I'm so smart. A bit wrung out, the little carp wondered if he and Prince Jing would be able to go back to how they were before. Was he going to have to continue avoiding the prince, never complete his quests, and eventually turn into fish bones and fish ash? Liu couldn't accept his life ending for such an outrageous reason. He needed to pull himself together. He wanted to complete his task happily with Prince Jing and not have to hide anywhere whenever he heard the prince's footprints. Blah, blah, heard the prince's footsteps. He should try to apologize. Misunderstanding or not, he was still the one in the wrong. As long as he apologized, even if an apology from a fish meant nothing to the prince, he could at least turn over a new page and face Prince Jing like normal. But the problem was, how was he going to do it? He had already spun in circles and danced the seaweed dance plenty of times, so those wouldn't be worth anything. He couldn't write, leaving him no way for him to communicate with a human language. In a human language. He couldn't even prepare a proper gift. The porcelain fish tank he lived in, the bed, and the blanket, none of those belonged to him. So, how could he show he was truly sorry? TB, not scalding. Am I gonna burn my tongue? Let's see. Okay, we're good. Liu swam a lap in the tank, troubled. Then his gaze fell upon a lone piece of fish food. It was a chunk of fish food Wang Ji had thrown to him not too long ago, but Liu hadn't touched it because he didn't have much of an appetite. But since it was given to him, it now belonged to him. Ah! That's cute. He could give this to Prince Jing to demonstrate his sincerity. That is so cute. Liu picked up the food and hid it. Worried it might not be enough, he hid a couple more until he had 6 pieces, an auspicious number. Prince Jing was rarely in his room during the day. He usually only came by at night. Once night fell and the lamps had been lit, Liu figured it was about time. He picked out the pieces of fish food and laid them out carefully. Happiness expanded his chest. He waited for Prince Jing to return. So what if I bit my owner there? I'm just a fish. You can forgive me, right? Tonight, however, unbeknownst to Liu, Prince Jing had something to take care of and had returned to his manor outside of the palace. Liu waited until he couldn't stay up any longer, but Prince Jing never came back that night. Prince Jing hurried back to Jingtai Hall, bright and early the next day, the morning dew clinging to the bottom of his boots. Wang Ji led a group of servants to help him change. At the first opportunity, Prince Jing shot a glance at the porcelain fish tank. That's too hot. I took too big of a sip. Ever since the little carp bit him, Prince Jing felt like the fish had been a little listless. Moreover, this listlessness, that's really hard for me to say. This listlessness was directed at him, personally, and to no one else. The fish would swish its tail when Wang Ji was over there, but as soon as Prince Jing walked over, the only thing he'd see was a clump of water plants. Prince Jing was a little irritated. Wasn't he the one who had been bitten? How dared this fish ignore him, when he hadn't even done anything yet? Prince Jing wasn't a very laid-back person. He couldn't stop thinking about it. He needed to set things straight between him and the fish and establish some rules. While he wouldn't be so cruel as to deprive his own fish of food and water, Prince Jing still wanted the fish to suffer a little hardship, so it'd think twice about getting too rowdy and making more trouble for him. He had already written the rules down one by one. and all that was left to do was have Wang Ji implement them. One of them was that he was going to seal the pearl from Changqing Palace in a clear jar and then put the jar in the fish tank. Oh, he's so mean. Prince Jing knew how badly the little carp wanted the pearl, but he wasn't going to just hand it over. Making it look at what it couldn't touch would build character. That way, it would come to understand that one couldn't have everything one wanted in life. Your Highness, do you think the little thing will understand what you mean by this? Wang Ji really wanted to tell the prince that this little thing was just a fish. A fish definitely wouldn't be able to understand such profound principles. Unfortunately, he didn't have any power to talk Prince Jing out of it. Prince Jing was adamant. He nodded solemnly. It must be done. Wang Ji sighed. He couldn't go against his master's wishes. He went to prepare. It's really so dumb. After changing, Prince Jing strolled to the fish tank. The little carp wasn't hiding anymore, nor was it on its white stone bed. Instead, it had fallen asleep in front of a neat line of fish food. For a moment, he thought someone was abusing the fish, to the point that it was starting to store food. The little carp woke up soon after. He peered around and noticed the fish food had remained untouched. He looked up, and when he met Prince Jing's eyes, he started to spin happily in circles. No, Liu shook his head. He almost forgotten himself and started to dance the seaweed dance. Liu tried his best to lower his head in the water. His fins were too short for him to clasp his hands in front of him to bow. So he gave up on the gesture and instead brought each piece of fish food before Prince Jing, lowering his head again each time. He's bowing. That's too cute. Oh my god. Oh, my foot's asleep again. Oh no. Okay. Prince Jing wasn't quite sure how to react. Wang Ji was shocked. Your Highness, what is this little thing doing? Prince Jing looked from the row of food to the little carp's constantly bobbing head. He watched it for a while, thinking. Was the little carp asking for forgiveness, trying to kiss up to him, or something else? Regardless of the reason, the fish seemed to want him to eat. But humans couldn't eat fish food, obviously. The corner of Prince Jing's lips twitched at the fish's absurd ideas. Since the prince was deep in thought, Wang Ji didn't dare make a sound. But the servant, Wang Ji, had sent off before to carry out the prince's orders had returned, so Wang Ji timidly interrupted. Your Highness, the luminous pearl has been put into the bottle at your request. Wang Ji had to call out to Prince Jing several times before the prince pulled out of his reverie. In Wang Ji's hand was a little bottle with the luminous pearl. Originally, Prince Jing had signaled to Wang Ji that he would punish the little carp by placing the pearl, trapped inside the bottle, into the fish tank himself. The bottle was very secure, and the opening had been sealed with wax. There was no way a fish would be able to open it. But at the sight of the fish blowing bubbles at him, he is too weak. Prince Jing hesitated. He stopped Wang Ji. Wang Ji didn't understand what was happening, but Prince Jing had already grabbed the little bottle from him. The bottle, clutched in his hand, hovered just above the fish tank. The luminous pearl's glow was dazzling, even from inside the bottle. Its glimmer filled up the whole fish tank, and Liu's attention was drawn to it instantly. There was no doubt that was the clear, bright pearl he had been yearning for. Was he dreaming? What was going on? He'd completely given up on this side quest, but now the prince was bringing out the pearl. Leo was haunted by the memory of what had happened the last time he was too impulsive, and he didn't dare make any sudden movements. He sat obediently in his tank, his tail quivering in anticipation. What was the prince doing? It couldn't be what he was thinking of, right? The youth standing before the fish tank silently opened the bottle and dumped the pearl straight into the tank. One couldn't have everything they wanted in life, but as long as someone held him sincerely in their heart, he would take care of him, even if it was just a fish. Leo watched the luminous pearl fall in slow motion like a dazzling meteor shooting by. He let out a cheer, his tail flinging him high into the air, and caught the pearl. That's the end of the chapter. That was so cute. That was so cute. Oh, I love this book so much. End of chapter 12. The next chapter is called The Fish Wants to Fight for Love. That's what it's called. The fish wants to fight for love, and who can stop him? He's clearly doing so well. Oh my god. Let me see how long this one is. This one's short too. Am I going to botch my throat? I don't know. It's starting to feel better now that I have tea. Hot tea. But no, I think we'll stop there. Yeah, we'll stop there. That's a good ending place for today. Sorry. Oh man. Oh me, oh my. This is so fun. I love this book. I'm obsessed with it. I'm actually obsessed with it. Ugh. Alright. That is it for today. I will be back here on... Let's see. What did I put on my schedule? On Wednesday, I think we'll probably do an art stream. I just want to read. I want to read. I have to pace myself because otherwise I'll burn out. So we're gonna be doing an art stream on Wednesday, hopefully, and then another reading stream on Friday. Probably around the same time. It depends on what time I'm waking up. It could be a drastically different time because I might not be able to keep waking up at 6 a.m. I had a hard time waking up this morning, so we'll see. I have to feed the dogs at 7 because my surgery dog needs to take his meds 3 times a day. But I don't know how long I can do that. I mean, he's still gonna get his meds. It's me or my roommate feeding him. But yeah. Ridiculous. I love this book. I love it so much. It's like already my favorite book. No, maybe not. Scum Villain still takes the cake, but this is it's so silly. And it's just so cute. I'm so happy with it. I couldn't have asked for anything else. Like, it's perfection. And it's only number 1. And I think they announced, like, there's already a cover for book 2. Volume 2. So I think it's in print, maybe? I'm not sure. I'm not sure when it's actually, like, when I'll be able to buy it, but we'll see. We're definitely gonna continue with this series. But yeah, that is all for today. I will see you on Wednesday or Friday, who knows, or maybe never again. That's so sad. Wait, I can put my book down now. Book down. Right as I leave. But yeah, that's all today. I'll see you later. Yeah, that's good. We're good, right? We're good. I'm not gonna rate anyone. We're good. I actually find the like rating thing kind of really stressful, so I will not be doing that. But I'll see